I'm getting ready to go on a bike ride. I'm cleating in for the first time.
Well, what? Those are football cleats.
Yeah, because you cleat into the pedals.
That's not how this works.
What are you talking about, Jimmy?
There's a special shoe and a special pedal that'll help you ride a whole lot better than a football cleat.
Well, good thing we're going to talk about that on tonight's episode. Welcome to Learning with Alisha. I'm Alisha Zellner, and I'm the founder of Bike Ride for Black Lives. And if you've missed any of the other Learning with Alisha series, feel free to find them at Bike Ride for Black Lives on Instagram, on the IGTV, or on YouTube. Jimmy, go ahead and roll us through a couple of platforms we can talk about today when it comes to all of shoes and the pedals.
Okay. First one we're going to start with is actually a platform pedal. This is probably the easiest thing for any cyclist to start with.
Okay.
This allows you to ride in a regular shoe. Whether it's a tennis shoe, if you've got your favorite pair of Sunday dress shoes, they can all be supported on this. Now there's still an ideal setup, so to speak, with a platform pedal, and that is still going to be a cycling specific shoe. Cycling shoes, whether they are casual, road race, mountain race oriented, are all going to be stiff in the platform that they provide. So if you try and bend that down, you'll see it's a very stiff shoe.
Okay, in comparison to like my tennis shoes.
Yep. So tennis shoe, you still get a little bit of flex in the toe box so that you can walk. The idea being is that when you're standing on the pedal, when you press down, all of your effort goes into pushing that pedal down and moving the bike forward rather than your foot sagging behind it.
Okay.
A tennis shoe would sag behind it. The other thing that cycling shoes are going to vary in from a tennis shoe is how they are cut. Now the back of a cycling shoe is going to be tapered or straight down, so that when you're pedaling, you're not going to kick your frame or rub on the cranks.
All right.
A jogging shoe tends to have a flared rubber sole on the outside. While you can ride in it, what ends up happening is you're more likely to kick your frame, and as a result, you'll change your riding position and move your feet out.
All right.
And that runs the risk of hurting your knees.
So can you tell me about the importance of the ruts that are on the pedal?
The
black pieces.
So these little guys here are basically small spikes designed to help grip the shoe, so that when you step on it, your foot cannot slide.
Okay.
So if you were to, you can see this is a pretty smooth shoe. Large and flat, designed to sit on a large flat surface.
Okay.
The spikes simply help to hold it. So if you were to ride, say, in conditions like we had this week with a lot of snow and moisture, you could step on this with a wet shoe, and you're not going to slip off.
Yeah, hopefully if you were riding in Snowmageddon, you had those fat tires.
Yep. Very common thing that people will ride in the wintertime or for commuting is they'll use a pedal like this.
Okay.
Easy on and off the bike.
So platform, not platform heels, not those just
Not
shoes.
platform heels.
Okay, all right.
Haven't seen that one yet.
Okay, you just never know in Colorado. You just never know.
It could happen.
Okay, so can you say a little bit more? You talked specifically about a shoe that didn't have necessarily a clip on the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
What are the different types of shoes that you can use to clip in?
So there are two basic styles of shoes. The road shoe and the mountain shoe. Easily identified. A road shoe is going to be smooth on the bottom.
Okay.
It typically will have 3 mounting holes. This is what's called a look style bolt pattern. Basically, that's the term used to describe any 3-hole shoe. It kind of follows what's called a look style cleat, which is a 3-bolt cleat. So large triangle plastic cleat like you see there.
Okay.
Road shoes are going to have a small tread on the front, small on the heel, just so you can walk if you need to. With a road shoe, when the cleat is mounted, you'll see it raises the front of the shoe up. Because it's such a large cleat, you do walk on that.
Okay.
So ideally with the road shoe, if you're shopping for one, if you think you're going to walk a lot, reconsider this perhaps. This is ideal for long distance, long miles when you're on the bike, but not a lot of walking.
Okay.
Yep. Very, very stiff, but also very lightweight.
And it looks pretty aerodynamic.
Yep. Designed to help cheat the wind, because when you're on a road bike, you're looking for speed.
Okay.
Yep.
Can you talk a little bit more about what's happening up here?
So that is the BOA closure system.
Okay.
This particular shoe is the Bontrager Velocis. Has a Velcro strap for the toe box, and then up top, rather than laces which can get caught in the chain.
Oh yeah, I've had that happen a lot as a kid.
I think it happens to every kid. BOA came up with a system that uses a small steel cable, slide your foot in, press the BOA down, and crank it down.
Oh, that is
to where you're
nifty. And then it doesn't
Yep.
get caught or wound up in our pedals.
Yep, keeps the shoe very clean, very smooth looking. When you're ready to get out, simply lift the BOA up and it lets the tension out of the system.
Well, that's easy enough.
Simple.
Looked very confusing at first, so
Yep.
thanks for explaining that, Jimmy. What other shoes do we have?
Other shoes, and we're going to go back to the cleats here in a bit.
Okay.
There's a few things to clarify there. Other option for shoes are going to be a mountain shoe. Mountain shoes are going to be easy to tell by the tread on the bottom. Where road shoes don't have tread, they're very smooth along the bottom. Large lugs. So mountain biking, you often find yourself in situations where you have to get off the bike and sometimes get over rocks, maybe run through a mud pit, sand, what have you. It's a shoe that's designed to accommodate that.
Okay.
Some of them also have little replaceable spikes at the front.
Looks like a cleat.
Like a cleat.
So
actually,
I was kind of close.
You can actually use track cleats in these if you wanted to.
Oh,
They will fit.
good to know.
So, mountain shoes will follow what's called an SPD style mounting system. It's a very generic term at this point. SPD means Shimano Pedaling Dynamics.
Okay.
It's become just a generic term to describe a shoe and mounting system that uses 2 bolt holes. So basically you have 2 slots and a cleat with 2 bolts that'll just mount right into the bottom of the shoe.
Well, how do you know which ones to put them in?
So that's going to come down to how your foot fits into the shoe, and that's more of a fitting situation.
Okay.
Ideally, you want your cleat to sit under the center of the ball of your foot. Now, that's a very general, broad description of where you want the cleat.
Okay.
There's some fine tuning to that happens as well, but that's why you have those 2 bolt holes.
Okay.
So if you've got, say, very long toes, very short toes, this gives you room to accommodate that.
All right. And are there
Yeah.
people you can technically like how we would do a bike fitting? Is there people that you can go to that you can get fitted for your cleats also?
Yes, anybody who does bike fits will start with your feet.
Ah,
Typically doing a bike fit, you start from the feet up, so this is the starting point.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jimmy.
So the other thing you notice with the cleat, so this is an example of a time cleat mounted into a shoe. When you set the shoe down, the cleat doesn't touch the ground. So a road shoe, you're walking on the cleat. On a mountain shoe, you're walking on the tread. The cleat sits recessed in between the pontoons, these large sections of tread.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let me ask you something, Jimmy. Let's say an individual likes road biking, but they prefer not to have to step in something like this. Can they put a pedal on their bike that would allow them to wear a shoe like this, so that if they do maybe commute or if they do a little bit more walking, they would be able to wear a shoe like this rather than a shoe like this?
Absolutely. So we usually recommend to folks, if you're new to cycling and you're getting started on clipless pedals, to start with a mountain system
Okay.
rather than a road system.
Okay.
So road pedals, like this one here, is one-sided. It's designed, when it's on the bike, to sit like this. The pedal, you basically kick the front with your toe, catch the cleat, step in to engage.
Okay.
It's only one-sided. Now mountain biking, because it gets to be a little more treacherous out on the trail, mountain pedals are 2-sided. These are more of a stop and go type system.
Okay.
So you don't have to worry about what side you're on. Catch that cleat, stomp, snap in, and you're good to go.
All right.
A lot more forgiving. One of the things about mountain pedals as well that you want to be cautious of, different pedals sometimes require different cleats. And this is going to be the same thing with road pedals.
Oh.
What we see here The Shimano, this is a Shimano XTR mountain pedal.
Okay.
And a Bontrager Elite mountain pedal. These both use a Shimano cleat, Shimano style cleat.
Okay.
Go into any bike shop in the country, you'll find these cleats available. You can interchange this cleat between the two pedals and they will work fine.
Okay.
In contrast,
I was gonna say, does this fit in both of those?
this is a time cleat. This will only fit a time pedal.
Oh.
This will not fit anything else out there.
Okay.
There are companies like Crank Brothers that have their own cleat. It will only fit their pedals. So if you're shopping or if you already have pedals, just make sure you get the right cleat with the right pedal.
Okay.
When you're buying new, pedals always come with cleats. So if you buy a new set of Shimano or Bontrager pedals, there will be cleats in the box.
And if you buy
If you're buying road, you're going to have cleats in the box.
what is this thing?
So this is another variation on a road pedal.
Oh.
So you can see the difference in the size there.
Yeah. But don't tell me that that goes into there.
This doesn't go into here.
Okay. I was
So-
like, that doesn't make any sense.
This is a Speed Play Zero pedal. It's a very popular pedal on the market. It is two-sided, similar to a mountain pedal, but substantially smaller.
Okay.
The reason people go to a smaller pedal like this, kind of two reasons. It is substantially lighter, gives you more ground clearance, and it's a lot more aerodynamic. The big reason for it is what's called float.
Oh.
So cleats, you will find, it's easier on the road side to see. This particular cleat is a Bontrager cleat for one of our road pedals. This comes in red or gray.
Okay.
This is a Shimano cleat, which will only work with Shimano road pedals. These come in yellow, blue, and red. Each color has a different amount of float. Now what float is when you're snapped in,
Okay.
is how much your foot can rotate
Oh.
on the pedals. If you've got bad knees, if you have trouble with alignment, fit issues, float is a good thing. It allows your feet to rotate and your knees to align properly over your pedals without falling out. You can get cleats that are what's called fixed, where your feet go in and there's no float at all. That's great for younger folks with super healthy knees.
Not me.
But that is something where you definitely want to have someone fit you to the bike. Because once you're locked in, if those things are set up in the wrong place, you run the risk of long-term injury.
Is there float in mountain pedals also?
Yep. So mountain pedals typically will have float across the board. I can't personally think of anything that is fixed. Shimano's will have a few degrees of float. One of the reasons I use times, been mountain biking for a long time, my knees are abused. Time pedals have quite a bit of float to them. Their pedal system allows you to be on the pedal, move side to side, as well as rotate. So a lot more forgiving. So when I ride, I don't have knee problems.
All right, Jimmy, gotta ask, what's the benefit of clipping in versus not clipping in?
So not clipping in, one of the big disadvantages is your foot can be in a different position every time you ride. If you're on a bumpy trail or road, your foot can be in a different position on every pedal stroke if your foot's bouncing around.
Okay.
So that's going to lead to primarily a loss of power, a lot of power. So you're going to end up working harder to cover the same amount of ground as somebody who's clipped in.
Okay.
Clipping in is about efficiency. You are somewhat becoming one with the bike. Imagine trying to ski just standing on skis instead of snapping.
I don't think it's possible.
It wouldn't last very long.
I don't think the skis would stay with you.
It'd be fun to watch. But yeah, when you clip in, your feet are locked into the pedals. And again, you've got that stiff shoe, so you get a much more efficient pedal stroke, more power delivered to the bike, faster, further, smoother riding.
Yeah, because you get the downstroke as well as the upstroke.
And the upstroke, it allows you to pedal in circles or ovals depending on your pedaling style. But yeah, it allows you to maintain a much smoother cadence on the bike.
Okay, and now new people who haven't necessarily clipped in, the one thing we haven't talked about is how the heck you get your foot out of there, Jimmy.
So,
because let's be honest, I have spent my time at an intersection where I've unclipped one foot and leaned the wrong way, and down I went.
Yep. One thing to be aware of when you buy clipless pedals, you're going to fall at some point. It happens to everybody. There's not a single person that has.
It's like a rite of passage, basically.
Yeah. You can watch the Tour de France. Those are pros. Somebody falls every year. It never misses. It can happen. Par for the course. So don't be afraid to fall. The easiest thing you can do to mitigate falling is plan ahead.
Okay.
When you start with clipless pedals, I always tell folks, don't start on a new trail. Don't do a ride that you've never done before. Do a few laps around your neighborhood. Do a ride that you are familiar with, where you know where the stop signs are, where you know where the lights are. As you approach an intersection, take a foot out, coast.
But just don't lean the wrong way.
Don't lean the wrong way. Again,
you'll end
that's
up
planning.
falling over.
So yeah, clipping out. All of these systems are going to engage and disengage in a similar fashion, with the exception of the speed plate.
Okay.
They're all going to go in toe first, and you're going to snap into the pedal with a very distinct click. You'll know when you're in.
Yep.
Now, when you want to disengage, you have to remember the cleat is what's locked in. So you're going to pivot on the cleat and kick your heel out.
Oh, Jimmy, it's what I like to call the reverse Dorothy. Where Dorothy goes home, she clicks in, her heels together, but when you're kicking out, that's how you're going to get on your pedals.
Yep.
Heels out. The reverse Dorothy.
Yep.
I patent that. Don't anybody steal that.
One of the common things we see people do when they're new as well is they panic when they try to disengage.
Oh, yeah.
And they try and move their whole leg. Moving your whole leg does no good. you basically, that's going to cause you to fall.
You do the chicken dance?
You do the chicken dance, the wiggly leg, stanky leg, whatever.
Oh, hey! Jimmy, that was a good one.
I got a few in me. Yeah, you just have to remember the cleat is what is locked in. You're going to pivot on that cleat. Ball of your foot, heel out. And you will hear a distinct click of your foot coming out. And when that happens, great, put that foot down. Yep.
Make sure to put it down.
Don't stare at it. Don't try and move your whole leg out. Just pivot. Yep. Be sure to practice. A lot of these have adjustable spring tension. So if you're just starting, you can set them for a lighter release action.
Okay.
So they're not as stiff. And once you become more comfortable with it, or maybe you start racing, you don't want to have an accidental disengagement, lock it back down.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Jimmy, any last minute takeaways?
Don't be afraid. Clipless pedals are one of the great upgrades to anybody who rides a bike. In terms of equipment to get, shoes and pedals are probably the first place to start to improve your ride. It changes how much effort you put into the bike and the reward you get for it.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much. And thank you all for joining us this week. Next week, we're going to talk about picking out the right tire for your bike. Good evening.